People who asked for a pencil every single day in school. How is life going for you? Story 1. Really well. Now that I'm an adult in control of my environment and a budget, I can keep a small drawer on my desk that's dedicated to stationary utensils that work. I've also learned that supplies aren't expensive or hard to get when I used to assume that people who were fully stocked had some sort of special access to things like teachers. Same for things from the pharmacy like Band-Aids and batteries and eye drops. So now I'm the person with the odd thing you need when you don't know you need it. And it feels good, man. Story 2. In my schools, the kids that did this were usually poor, dysfunctional, abusive homes, in a shelter, or part of the foster care system. They were also typically the ones asking others for their lunch scraps, a quarter, loose leaf paper. Many of them didn't graduate high school. I always think about those kids. I also sympathize with those that have emotional, mental, or learning disorders. ADHD, anxiety, and language delays are heavy in my family. I started buying all types of cute or character pens, chalkart pencils for my kids, as well as buying Ticonderoga pencils by the box, and would place tons of them everywhere in the house and in their backpacks and lockers. Story 3. I was the poor kid in the affluent part of the city. Not to say we were so poor my parents couldn't afford pencils, but I think when you're that kid, there are systematic processes in place where the school system sort of gives up on the poor kids to focus their efforts on kids who have more advantages. And when you are treated like you're a lost cause, you're going to internalize that, which is what I did. I didn't give a shit about school. I was never prepared, rarely did my homework, hung out with mostly shitty people, and almost didn't graduate high school. I borrowed more than my fair share of pencils back then. I worked shitty dead-end jobs after I graduated and never had much money. I think I was about 25 when I decided I didn't want to live like this until I died. Started surrounding myself with good people, went to community college, although scared I'd scrape by like I did in middle school and college, happened to have great teachers, found out studying works, and just kept at it. Transferred to a 4-year university. Earned 2 bachelor degrees a few years later in semi-related fields. Took on a sales position at a software and services company after graduating and have been doing well there for a while. Now I'm enrolled in school again working on my MBA. Oh, and now I have a whole gaggle of pencils sitting right next to me. TLDR, things are going great, thanks for asking. Story 4. I went to a Catholic school. Senior year, one of my friends was that guy. One teacher was berating him at length for again not having a pen. I got up, walked across the room, and handed him 2 extras I had with an arm pat of love and support. Teacher stared at me in shock and anger. She then asked, "What are you doing?" I said, "I thought we were a Christian school and we believe in charity." I got applause, mostly for the sheer nerve. She turned red and threw me and him out of class to go see the vice principal / dean of discipline, who was a nun. She was also really mad when I appealed to the ideals of charity and grace, mostly because I was then unpunishable. I lost touch with him a couple of years after high school, but he seemed fine. Story 5. I never had my pencils in school, so I always tried to borrow them. I half-assed my way through high school, and back then everyone told you to go to college, so I did. I had to work my way through college because I didn't have anyone to pay for it for me. I had many jobs: retail, blue-collar, and office work. Then I found my future, IT. I started out as Tier 1, the lowest, and worked my way up mostly just by being there. Along the way, I graduated college with a degree completely unrelated to IT. Then started getting IT certifications for which I never really needed to study too much. In this field, certs and experience are all jobs look for. I'm 15 years in, making upper middle class money, wife, kids, and a house, and I do about 2 to 5 hours of real work a week. TLDR. Half-assed my way through high school, college, and my job. Turned out fine. Story 6. Pretty good. I've got a good career, a wife with an even better career. We make enough that we'll be affected by Joe Biden's tax plan. Have a pretty average-size house in middle America, a couple kids. We're in a neighborhood so little less land than I wanted, but still a very nice place to raise a family. Still forget literally everything. I can't tell you how many times I leave groceries at the grocery store on accident or in a shopping cart. If my wife moves the bowl for our keys, our wallet, I will 100% lose them. I just found my sunglasses after having misplaced them in my bathroom, for some reason, after like 2 months. Edit. I voted already for Biden, thanks for the award. Story 7. Finally a thread for me. Great. I stumbled upon community college after working 40 HR a week through senior year of high school. Couldn't work and go to college because I had to support myself. But I made the best of it. After working years in food service and customer-facing marketing and management jobs, I am now the service manager at a chain Italian restaurant, and I am paid very well for my age from having hopped jobs a few times and made an upgrade each time. Currently living with my girlfriend. Probably gonna start a family at some point in the next 5 years. Hopefully once we both get in a super secure financial spot. Story 8. Got a full ride, made it through 92% of my schooling on the scholarship, and dropped out due to burnout, y'all mental health being out of whack. All of this in the midst of breaking up with my girlfriend because I was an idiot who was afraid of the future. Spent 2 months in a haze, made things right with my GF. Now wife for nearly 6 years, been together overall for almost 11. Got a job in a factory, basically a sweatshop. Worked there for nearly a year until I got a new job at a Fortune 500 defense contractor working as a ship receive clerk, finished the last 15 hours of my degree paying as I went, got my degree, became a buyer at the same company, had a baby with my wife, job hopped to a better company doing the same job with better work-life balance, and finally, am full-time WFH. Another baby on the way, and life is good. Been a hell of a journey, but gotta say that life has worked itself out and now we keep at least 2 to 3 pens in the house at any given time. Story 9. I was always prepared and loved all things related to stationery. One day in 4th grade I had a test. Both my main and backup pencil broke. My teacher refused to allow me to accept a pencil from another student and told me that since I can't finish my test I would fail it. It was a lesson in responsibility. I was a straight A student, so this was excruciating. The hardest lesson that stuck with me, I continue to see it in my adult life, is that those that are repeatedly irresponsible are given leniency to a degree way beyond those that are consistently responsible, but just happen to have a shit day. I guess the idea is that there's no hope for those that can't be bothered to be responsible. But if you punish the responsible kid extra hard, they're less likely to ever make the mistake again. I despise that kid that never had pencil or paper and refused to share after that day. Story 10. I've got a drawer in my house full of probably 40 pens I've mindlessly brought home from work. Now I still don't bring them back to work, but I refuse to let myself take any more home simply because I do not have the room for them.